Coming to you live from Angkasa Puri, I'm Shuhaida Arifin and this is News at 10, making the headlines tonight. PM calls for peaceful and harmonious multipolar world. Indoor face mask use no longer compulsory. Malaysia opines that every nation-state should be brave to move towards creating a peaceful and harmonious multipolar world that respects international diplomacy. In expressing Malaysia's stand at the 7th Eastern Economic Forum EEF with the theme On the Path to a Multipolar World, Prime Minister Datuk Seri Semasa said the world today is moving towards multipolarity that brings with it not only threats but opportunities that should be optimised by all.
Semua negara harus dapat menerima dan menyesuaikan diri dengan pengagihan kuasa baru dalam mencorak masa hadapan yang lebih makmur, mampan dan saksama. Dari perspektif Malaysia, tiada negara yang boleh hidup secara terasing. Oleh itu, Malaysia sentiasa mengamalkan sikap mesra dan terbuka untuk menjalinkan persahabatan dengan mana-mana negara.
Perceived imbalances, he said, whether in terms of political and economic power or the level of development between countries and different regions, need to be acknowledged and dealt with prudently, especially by the world's superpowers as the leading political and economic players. The Prime Minister also said countries that still believe in hegemony would only create conflicts, tensions and instability in political and social aspects.
Oleh yang demikian, sebarang penyelesaian yang mahu dicari tidak sepatutnya hanya menguntungkan satu pihak semata-mata tetapi seharusnya melibatkan semua pihak. Manakala dasar sekatan sehala ataupun unilateral sanction yang diperkenal kuasa-kuasa besar dunia telah mengakibatkan ketidakstabilan rantaian bekalan dalam meneruskan pengoperasian sektor pembuatan.
On another matter, Datuk Seri Semasa today congratulated and conveyed his best wishes to Muabon Sam Lim, who was elected as Tangley Member of Parliament in Australia's House of Representatives. In a tweet, the Prime Minister also said he was proud when Lim spoke in Bahasa Melayu in his maiden speech at the Australian Parliament today. Lim, 61, from Australia Labor Party ALP, was appointed as an MP after winning the Tangley seat in Perth in the general election in Australia recently.
Kepada semua saudara-saudara yang berada di Malaysia, Australia dan di seluruh pelosok dunia, terima kasih atas semua perhatian dan berkat yang telah anda sekian berikan kepada saya. Terima kasih atas semua dukungan dan bantuan anda semasa pilihan di Australia. Terima kasih semua.
Lim's inaugural speech in Australia's Parliament was also partly delivered in Mandarin and English. Effective immediately, the protocol on wearing face masks in buildings or enclosed spaces is no longer mandatory. However, Health Minister Khairi Jamaluddin emphasised that the wearing of face masks will still be subject to the premise owner's discretion. He said even though wearing face masks will no longer be mandatory, premises still have the option to insist on their patrons or customers to wear a mask. Furthermore, Khairi reminded that the wearing of face masks is highly encouraged to stop the spreading of COVID-19. Wearing face masks is also encouraged for individuals with symptoms such as fever, cough and cold, high-risk individuals. This includes the elderly, those suffering from chronic diseases, individuals with low immunity and pregnant mothers, as well as those who perform activities with high-risk people. wearing face mask is still mandatory for positive COVID-19 cases or when in public transport and health facilities.
Pemakaian pelitup muka masih diwajibkan bagi situasi berikut. Kos sekiranya bergejala ataupun COVID positif, mesti pakai pelitup muka. 2. Apabila menggunakan perkhidmatan pengangkutan awam seperti bas, kereta api, taksi, termasuk perkhidmatan e-hailing, ya, termasuk kenderaan e-hailing, kapal terbang serta bas, van pekerja dan van sekolah. Ini masih wajib dipakai pelitup muka. Ya. Dan setting seterusnya yang wajib pakai pelitup muka masih adalah semasa berada di fasiliti kesihatan.
On another note, the Health Ministry is considering a purchase of vaccines specifically for the latest variant of COVID-19. This proposal was discussed after observing existing epidemiological infection trends as well as high-risk individuals.
Kita belum lagi buat keputusan sama ada kita akan menawarkan vaksin tersebut untuk semua ataupun hanya untuk mereka yang berisiko tinggi saja. Sekarang ini kita boleh melihat kepada satu program vaksinasi yang lebih bersasar dan bukan kepada semua. Ya. Jadi dalam konteks ini memang kita sedang pertimbangkan untuk membeli vaksin bagi varian Omicron dan juga vaksin-vaksin yang baru. Cuma dari segi bentuk program imunisasi itu belum lagi kita buat keputusan sama ada mass vaccination campaign ataupun kita menawarkan kepada kumpulan tertentu sahaja.
In a related development, pregnant or breastfeeding women are also recommended to get their second mRNA booster shot. Current data shows that the vaccine is effective in reducing severe COVID-19 infection while pregnant, as well as protecting the baby. The Health Ministry is currently considering the distribution of influenza vaccines free of charge to elderly folk aged 65 years old and above. Deputy Health Minister Dr. Rasmi said the proposal is seen as an effective measure towards ensuring optimum health among the elderly, one of the most vulnerable groups to infection-borne complications.
Perkara itu saya sebut tadi, saya akan bawa dalam mesyuarat di KKM bersama dengan Yang Berhormat Menteri untuk menyatakan kepentingannya yang saya rasa penting. Pakar-pakar pun menyatakan penting tadi dan ada cadangan daripada persatuan tadi untuk memberikan free. Bagus sebab apa? Untuk untuk memudahkan lagi orang-orang yang 65 tahun ke atas. Dan saya percaya orang 65 tahun ke atas pun bukanlah bilangan yang ramai. Bukan bilangan yang ramai daripada rakyat Malaysia ini. Jadi perkara itu penting dan akan dibawa dalam meeting dalam KKM untuk diperhalusi.
He added that the administration of influenza vaccines towards the elderly aged 65 and above can reduce the risk of hospitalization by 45% and reduce risk of death by 42% if infected. Dr. Nur Azmi also advised the public to continue practicing COVID-19 health precautions as the characteristics, symptoms and infectivity of influenza are similar. In addition to the compromised immunity system in elderly people, the virus may also trigger pneumonia, which can result in organ failure. Still to come, police seize drugs worth 6.5 million ringgit. Stay tuned. Various drugs worth almost 6.5 million ringgit were seized in a special operation by the Kelantan Narcotics Criminal Investigation Department. Through the operation conducted in cooperation with Bukit Aman, 5 individuals aged between 27 and 39 were arrested in separate raids throughout Kota Baru and Selangor. Acting Kelantan Police Chief Datuk Muhammad Zaki Harun, a man was apprehended with drugs through a raid on 29 August near Pengkalan Cepa. Following the arrest, 3 suspects were nabbed in separate raids around Kota Baru and another suspect in Sri Kembangan, Selangor. All suspects were remanded for 13 days until 11 September.
Jadi ini adalah merupakan dari sikan awal terpercaya dadah-dadah ini adalah gunaan di Pantai Timur, negeri-negeri Pantai Timur dan juga Lembah Kelang, hasil pada tangkapan seorang suspek di Lembah Kelang.
Two youths found lifeless in a car outside a community hall in Ailimau, Alor Gajah were lovers, according to Melaka Police. State Deputy Police Chief Datuk Razali Abu Samah said police have ruled out any criminal element in the preliminary findings over the death of a 20-year-old man and his 16-year-old girlfriend. The duo was found dead around 9:25 a.m. today. He said investigators then proceeded to contact the respective family members of the deceased as part of the investigation process.
Kemudian kita telah panggil pasukan perubatan daripada Klinik Kesihatan Masjid Tanah dan mengisahkan kedua-duanya telah pun meninggal dunia di tempat kejadian. So keadaan semasa polis dapati bahawa kereta ini berselubung dengan kanvas penutup kereta. Dan turut dijumpai juga adalah air minuman, botol dan telefon bimbit disyaki adalah kepunyaan si mati.
Met by reporters, Datuk Razali added police are trying to find out whether their relationship was objected to by any of the family members or any other reasons for that could have led to the incident. He said the cause of the death is suspected carbon monoxide poisoning. Datuk Razali said the girl was sent to meet the man at the community hall at 4 p.m. on yesterday by a friend of the couple. The bodies of the two victims were taken to the Melaka Hospital for autopsy and the case has been classified as sudden death. The Ministry of Domestic Trade and Consumer Affairs (KPD and HEP) of Selangor detained 5 men, including a Bangladeshi, on suspicion of diesel smuggling activities in the mangrove swamp area near Pantai Aceh, Pulau Indah, Klang yesterday. Its director, Muhammad Zuhairi Matradi, said the 5 men aged between 22 and 63 were arrested in a raid conducted by a special team from the Royal Malaysia Police (PDRM) before being handed over to the KPD and HEP. In a statement today, Muhammad Zuhairi said during the handing over, a barge was found nearby and in the process of transferring diesel fuel into the vessel. He said the vessel is believed to be used for storage and for the purpose of trading the fuel to other ships around the coastal and the mangrove swamp areas. He said that upon inspection, it was found that the barge was used as a storage for subsidized diesel without valid documents. Among the items seized, Muhammad Zuhairi said, were a tanker, car, barge and an estimated 70,000 litres of fuel suspected to be diesel, with the total seizure amounting to 738,500 ringgit. He also said that 3 of the suspects, including the Bangladeshi, have been remanded, while the remaining 2 were released on police bail pending investigations into the case. He added that the case is being investigated under Sections 20 and 21 of the Control of Supplies Act 1961. The Shah Alam High Court will decide this 23rd September on whether to free or order former Deputy Prime Minister Datuk Seri Dr. Ahmad Zahid Hamidi to enter his defence on the 40 charges of receiving bribes in connection with the foreign visa system VLN. High Court Judge Datuk Muhammad Yazid Mustafa set the date today after hearing the submissions by both parties at the end of the prosecution case. The prosecution closed its case last 11th August after calling 18 witnesses, including former Home Ministry Secretary-General Tan Sri Alwi Ibrahim and 3 former Ultra Kerana Sdn Bhd UK SP directors. Datuk Seri Ahmad Zahid, 69, is facing 33 charges of receiving bribes amounting to 13.56 million Singapore dollars from UKSB for himself as Home Minister to extend the contract of the company as the operator of OSC service in China and the VLN system, as well as to maintain the contract agreement to supply the VLN integrated system to the same company by the Home Ministry. On another 7 counts, he was charged with obtaining for himself 1.5 million Singapore dollars, 3 million ringgit, 15,000 Swiss franc and 15,000 US dollars from the same company, which has official links with his official duty. He was charged with committing all the offences between October 2014 and March 2018. The Kuala Lumpur High Court was told today that Datuk Seri Najib Tun Razak had issued 38 cheques for 8.4 million ringgit from his personal account as payment to 18 individuals, 6 political entities and 6 companies between 2011 and 2012. Bank Malaysia Berhad Senior Manager of Cheque Processing Centre Division, Badrul Hisam Muhammad, 48, confirmed that the cheques issued to 6 companies, 5 UMNO branches and divisions, Tun Razak Barisan Nasional branch, as well as 18 individuals were from Datuk Seri Najib's personal and bank account. The former Prime Minister is facing 4 charges of using his position to obtain bribes amounting to 2.3 billion ringgit of 1MDB funds and 21 charges of money laundering involving the same amount. The trial before Judge Datuk Colin Lawrence Sakura continues tomorrow. An unemployed man was fined 10,000 ringgit or 4 months jail in default by the Seremban Sessions Court today for showing 5 pirated subscription copies of film works through the Telegram application in March last year. Judge Diana Mat Razali meted out the punishment to Ahmad Fairuzaman Ahmad Bolia, 46, after the accused pleaded guilty to committing the offence in Taman Desa Belo at about 10 p.m. on 18 March 2021. The man had shown to the public the 5 pirated subscription copies of the film works, whose copyright belonged to Astro via a Telegram account in the name of Ahmad Fibers. He was charged under Section 41, Subsection 1, Subsection E of the Copyright Act 1987 and punishable according to Section 41, Subsection 1, Subsection I of the same Act, which carries a maximum prison sentence of 5 years or a fine of up to 20,000 ringgit for each copy or both. He paid the fine. The prosecution was handled by Prosecuting Officer of the Ministry of Domestic and Consumer Affairs, KPDNHCP, Azmil Aspara, while Ahmad Fairuzaman was not represented. Hong Kong crane collapse kills 2. There are more coming up in the foreign segment. A fire tore through a karaoke bar in southern Vietnam, killing 12 people and leaving 11 injured, a local official said today. The blaze engulfed the 2nd and 3rd floors of the building on Tuesday night, trapping customers and staff members as dense smoke filled the staircase and blocked the emergency exit. Local media reported that many crowded onto a balcony to escape the flames, which grew quickly as they caught the wooden interior, and others were forced to jump from the building. Photos showed plumes of smoke billowing out of the bar located in a crowded residential neighborhood in Tuan Anh City, north of the commercial hub Ho Chi Minh City, as firefighters on cranes tried to extinguish the fire. The fire was Vietnam's deadliest since 2018, when 13 people died in a blaze in an apartment complex in Ho Chi Minh City. In 2016, a blaze in a karaoke bar in the capital Hanoi left 13 people dead, prompting a countrywide assessment of fire prevention measures at bars and clubs. 2 men were killed and at least 6 others injured after a Hong Kong tower crane collapsed at a construction site today. According to the police, 1 man was certified dead at the site in eastern Kowloon and the other man died on the way to the hospital. Police said 6 injured construction workers were taken to hospital, while another man was still trapped under the debris and awaiting rescue. An AFP reporter at the scene saw over a dozen emergency workers from the city's urban search and rescue team surrounding the crumpled crane, which had collapsed onto multiple cargo containers. The accident took place shortly after 10 a.m. when the crane fell onto a container, which then toppled onto construction workers. Authorities say they are still investigating the cause of the accident. Lawmaker Kwok Wei Kung, who represents the labour sector in Hong Kong, said crane collapses are rare in the city and called the accident a major blow to the industry. Kwok urged authorities to investigate whether the collapse was due to a design flaw or human error and to publish their findings as soon as possible. The European Union opened an office in Qatar today in a sign of the Gulf states' growing influence in solving the international energy crisis. EU Council President Charles Michel was to meet the Emir of Qatar, Sheikh Tamim bin Hamad Al Thani, and other top officials in Doha later in the day. Michel arrived from Algeria, where he also discussed supplies of natural gas. Qatar is one of the world's top suppliers of liquefied natural gas, and growing requests have been made by Germany and other European nations. Michel's talks with Qatari leaders were also to focus on Russia's invasion of Ukraine, which led to the gas shortages now hitting Europe.
I had the occasion today to have some political discussions with His Highness and also with the political authorities of Qatar, and I'm extremely confident. We are making progress on important topics of common interest. For instance, we are making progress on the visa waiver, and I'm confident that in the following weeks we will be able to take some strong decisions on that question.
Next in sports, Chelsea part ways with manager Thomas Tuchel. Stay with us. The country's top men's doubles pair, Aaron Shah Soho Yik, have received an incentive totaling 500,000 ringgit for their success in winning the maiden world title for Malaysia recently. Badminton Association of Malaysia BAM President Tan Sri Muhammad Nurza Zakaria said each shuttler would receive 250,000 ringgit from the award given by the parent body and several other official sponsors.
Bila kita pertama sekali kita tengok insentif yang datang ini, ia akan memberi peluang dan it's a living proof. Kalau you achieve world champion, you achieve you punya dream, bukan saja BAM tapi seluruh rakyat Malaysia daripada private sector, daripada kerajaan akan memberi you pulangan yang setimpal dengan kejayaan tersebut.
Weik said the incentive had further motivated him to secure a qualifying slot for the 2024 Olympic Games with the support and encouragement of the BAM sponsors and all Malaysians. Aaron meanwhile thanked all parties who believed in them, adding that they would continue to produce high-quality performances. Terengganu FC TFC head coach Nafuzi Zain admitted that he is finding it difficult to determine the starting lineup for the FA Cup final at the Bukit Jalil Stadium this Saturday. This is because all the players are at their best and ready to play in the match against powerhouse Johor Darul Takzim JDT. In fact, according to Nafuzi, his close relationship with this man also made things complicated, as he did not want to go wrong in picking the squad, as most of the players have no experience of playing on such a big occasion and are looking forward to it. He said as a former player, he fully understands their passion and desire to play in the final, especially considering that this opportunity has come after 11 long years. Nafuzi said that for the final, he most likely will not make many changes to the main squad that has always been fielded in previous matches. However, he said the coaching staff was still testing some new combinations of players to adapt to the pattern of the match against the Southern Tigers. Meanwhile, TFC goalkeeper Rahadi Azira Halim is determined to win his first career title when his team take on JDT this Saturday. In fact, the 21-year-old, who is the youngest goalkeeper in the Super League, aims to help the Turtles lift the prestigious trophy aloft and end their 11-year wait, having last won in 2011. Although he's not 100% fit after suffering an injury during the Super League match against Malacca United last Saturday, the national under-23 custodian underwent his first training session yesterday under the watchful eyes of the TFC medical team. Elaborating, Rahadazi, who is fondly called Abe by his friends and fans, said it was important for him to play in the FA Cup final as it would help him to overcome the disappointment of not being able to represent the country in the qualifiers for the World Cup 2022 and Asian Cup 2023 due to an anterior cruciate ligament ACL injury.
Ya betul, yang tahun lepas saya berhak panjang, tahun ni rezeki Terengganu masuk final, memang semua orang nak main. Ni saya anggap sebagai cabaran untuk saya untuk main final dan juga satu dugaan.
Chelsea have parted ways with manager Thomas Tuchel. The Premier League club announced today, a day after they lost 1-0 to Croatian team Dinamo Zagreb in their opening game of the Champions League group stage. Chelsea finished third in the Premier League last season, but the London club are sixth this term after 6 games, having won 3, lost 2 and drawing the other. The London club said in a statement that it would like to place on record its gratitude to Thomas and his staff for all their efforts during their time with the club. It said Thomas will rightly have a place in Chelsea's history after winning the Champions League, the Super Cup and Club World Cup in his time in London. The statement read that as the new ownership group reaches 100 days since taking over the club and as it continues its hard work to take the club forward, the new owners believe it is the right time to make his transition. Karen Kachanov upset Nick Kyrgios 7-5, 4-6, 7-5, 6-7, 6-4 at the US Open on Tuesday to reach the semi-finals of the Grand Slam tournament for the first time. Kachanov will next face Norway's Casper Ruud for a place in the final. Kachanov was better in the intense match biggest moments, saving 7 of the 9 breakpoints he faced, often with his thundering serve. Kyrgios will be in the second set. Alright, so that ends news at 10, wrapping up with a reminder of our top story. Prime Minister calls for peaceful and harmonious multipolar world. Join us for more updates at 12:30 p.m. tomorrow. Till then, I'm Shuhaida Arifin. Stay tuned to saluran Berita RTM and have a pleasant evening.